Hey guys, Matt here. What an absolutely stunning day it is today in Canada. I think it's like 30 degrees. It could snow tomorrow though, so got to be out here making the most of it. I was thinking about the concept of fame and how basically absurd it really is if you give it some thought. And I'm going to share some thoughts on it. You know, I can say even for myself, I think everyone out there, all of us, myself included, would enjoy a modicum of fame if it came our way. For the right reasons, of course. I mean, there are a lot of people out there famous for eating food in front of a camera. I mean, it's a little bit absurd. It's a spectacle, and that's why they're being watched. I don't think people are really cheering it on so much as tuning in because of how just bizarre it truly is. I mean, that's just one example. There are a plethora of examples, tons of examples of people accumulating attention and building platforms, we could say, doing really kinds of obnoxious and bizarre things. But that aside, fame itself, I have come to realize that it really is just the human ego not wanting to be not only destroyed but forgotten. Definitely does not want to be forgotten. And I mean, this is really the psychoanalytical term, ego. It's abstract, it's theoretical, but it does make a lot of sense. It makes sense in the way that I see it. I've read a lot of Carl Jung and a bit of Freud, and it's so fascinating. Jung is one of my favorite authors, actually, of all time. I just really enjoy his insights on the psyche and the unconscious, the collective unconscious, human collective unconscious. But pertaining to ego, you know, it's really ego that drives a person to want to achieve fame in whatever pursuit they're after. And it usually, I think in the most wholesome way, it comes by happenstance. Like, it's going to come to you because this is just the natural order of things, you know. And again, like an example for the right reasons, it would be you developing a skill that helps a lot of people, making like a tutorial video, for instance, of something, building something, creating something. And it just happens that people really are attuned to, they resonate with what you've put out there. And it's useful. I mean, if it helps, that's a really great thing. You know, in that sense, it's actually kind of interesting to think about how somebody, again, I'll use that example of someone eating in front of a camera, because there's a lot of that. They call it mukbang, I think. It's a Korean term. But people might look on to that person doing that, causing that self-destruction, and even if it's just for attention, and not want to go down that road. So it's kind of like they're seeing in real time what happens to you if you do something like that. I guess it's all serving a purpose ultimately. Everyone's kind of being guided to serve a purpose for the greater whole. I mean, that's quite a sacrifice, but geez, I guess it's kind of tasty along the way. Anyways, I don't know why I'm caught up on the eating thing. It's just, it's so peculiar. And it just really, I mean, like 20 years ago, this was not even, well, heard of here in the West, but yeah, so again, people wanting fame, the ego really actually desperately wanting it. But what is the ego itself? I've always likened it to be a tool to help you survive in this world. I mean, that's basically what its definition comes down to. It's, you know, it prevents you from putting your hand in a fire and just melting off the flesh. But in a more intellectual sense, I suppose, it's a tool that you can use to perpetuate good, to govern yourself. In this sense, I'm thinking like, you know, I think a lot of criminal activity is guided by an untamed, undisciplined ego. People want things, so they'll just go and take them by force. But a trained and disciplined ego will, again, it'll develop a skill, it'll harness an ability, it'll see a vision of a future it wants, or the mind will see a vision of a future it wants, and use the ego as the tool it was meant to be used as, to acquire that, to manifest that vision. And along the way, objects are acquired and accumulated. But, you know, someone that commits crime they don't have well, the discipline, for one thing, to follow through, you know, the crime they're committing excluded, but following through and manifesting that vision in a wholesome way that can endure. I think endurance is really the factor here. Enduring the journey, the process towards achieving the goal. It's never easy, obviously. People just don't care. Past a certain age, people just stop caring. And then their ego kind of gets out of line within themselves. And then, people's lives fall apart. They start getting extremely turbulent. In a literal sense, life is very, very challenging. And a lot of people, and then it comes back to this idea of fame. Like, if people think, if I was just famous, I'd have all this attention and potential to make money and get away from all my problems. But all of those problems exist within that stem from an undisciplined ego. So this idea of wanting fame when you have no business being famous is completely asinine. And I think a lot of people in the West are driven to pursue fame itself rather than pursuing a virtuous lifestyle in a wholesome sense, in a practical sense, pragmatically virtuous lifestyle that can, possibly garner fame. But I mean, it's something you really wouldn't want. I keep hearing that, hear that from celebrities. They just don't care. They hope everyone can get famous. They can see how vapid it is and how, it's almost senseless. I would like to experience what they're talking about just to know. I'm sure a lot of us would. We'd like to know what it feels like, of course, but also, possibly how destructive it could be. It's a powerful lesson, not for the weak, definitely. All right, guys, I'm gonna take off here. I'm gonna get back to my walk and enjoy this weather. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you for the next video. Cheers.